Good morning, guys, or good afternoon whenever you're watching this. I'm sorry I could not make it to class today. My allergies are a cold, it seems, and they've just gotten worse. So today we're going to talk about graphing systems of inequalities. So everything in Unit 2 is about systems, which means more than one. So what we've done recently is systems of equations. Now equations have equal signs. What we're going to talk about now are inequalities. So those are the things with inequality signs. And those are greater than or less than or greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. So when we're graphing a system, there's a few steps that we need to follow. If we look at our example right here, it says solve the system by graphing 3x minus 4y is less than 4, and x plus 2y is less than or equal to 8. We can't graph this as is. We don't know where to start. So we need to rewrite these in slope-intercept form. Now, hold on, sorry. Now, if you don't remember, slope-intercept form is our y equals mx plus b form. Okay. Oops. All right. So let's go over here. I'm going to do two separate colors for my lines so that it's easy to see. I'm going to do orange for my first one. So we need to get y by itself. We need to solve for y. Okay. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to move this 3x over. So I'm going to say minus, oops, I wanted that to be orange. I'm going to color code mine. If you have different colored markers or colored pencils or pens, I would recommend color coding them. It just makes it easier when we graph. Okay. So this is going to be negative 4y is less than negative 3x plus 4. Okay. We want to get y by itself. So we're going to divide by the negative 4 on both sides. Remember, you have to divide everything by it. Now notice this little star note up here. It says, flip the direction of the inequality sign when you multiply or divide by a negative. We just divided by a negative. So that means that we need to flip. Sorry, that looks ugly. We need to flip this sign. Ooh. Okay. So these cancel. And we get y. Instead of it being less than, now it's going to be greater than. Negative 3/4 divided by negative 3 divided by negative 4 is just going to give us a positive 3/4. And then 4 divided by negative 4 is going to be a negative 1. All right. So we have our first line. Okay, so our next step is to graph the line. So we're going to graph the y-intercept and then the slope, just like we would normally do. Sorry, got the Zoom stuff in my way. Okay. So my y-intercept is my negative 1. So I'm going to go down here. And then my slope is a positive 3/4. That means I go over 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I go up 1, 2, 3. Remember, it's rise over run. So 2, 4, 1, 2, 3. That wasn't very, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3. Okay, so we've plotted our points. Then we need to draw our line, but inequalities have something cool. We either have a dashed or a solid line. So if you go down here where these little boxes are, we have a solid line if we have a greater than or equal to or a less than or equal to. So if it has that or equal to, that means our line is included, which is a solid line. If it's just greater than or just less than, then it's not included in our solution, and it's going to be a dashed line. So it's very similar when we did domain and range, and our closed dots were included and our open dots were excluded. Same concept. Our solid lines are included and our dashed lines are excluded. So instead of having a nice connected line, I'm going to make a bunch of little dashes. And this just lets me know that my line is a border. It's not actually part of my solution. Okay, cool. So the next step is we have to shade. So we're either going to shade above or below our line. Now we shade because remember, these are not equations. In equations, you have a specific given value, so like x equals 3. Inequalities are a set of solutions. So you're given something like x is greater than 3, which means that all those values above 3 are considered part of your solution set. So it's more than one value, which is why we shade. So the shaded area represents all of our possible solutions. So we shade above if we have a greater than or a greater than or equal to. We shade below if we have a less than or a less than or equal to. And that makes sense, right? Because if something's greater than, then we're going to be shading up toward the positives. And if something's less than, we're going to be shading down toward the negative. Okay, so our line, our example is it's y is greater than. And this is where the colored pencils come in handy. So I'm going to shade above. Okay. Cool. So remember, our line is not included in this solution. It gets really close to the line, but it's not actually part of it. So points on this line are not solutions. Okay. So now we just repeat steps 1 through 5 for any additional inequalities. So in this example, we only have 2, so we're going to do it again for our second one. If you have more than 2, you just keep repeating. So you do one line at a time, and then you just keep adding your additional lines. So I'm going to pick a new color. I'm going to pick blue. Sorry if you guys hear my daughter crying. She's being dramatic. Okay, so we've got x plus 2y is less than or equal to 8. We need to get our 2y by itself. So we're going to subtract x from both sides. I'm sorry, that just doesn't look good. There we go. So 2y is less than or equal to negative x plus 8. We got to get y by itself, so we're going to divide everything by 2. These cancel. So we've got y equals, remember there's an invisible 1 there, so that's -1/2 x divided plus 8 divided by 2 is 4. Now notice I did not flip my inequality sign on this one. It remained my less than or equal to because I didn't divide by a negative. So if you're just dividing any number, a positive number, it doesn't change. It's only if it's a negative. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to graph my line. So my y-intercept is +4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then my slope is over 2, down 1. Notice they share a point right here. We're going to talk about that in a minute. And I'm just plotting my points right now. Okay, this is a less than or equal to, so that or equal to tells me that I'm going to have a solid line. And it's less than, so that means that I am going to shade down. Okay. Now, this is a solid line, so the points on this line are solutions. So our line is included in this one. All right. Okay, step 7. So the solution is the intersection. So where the shading and the lines overlap is where our solutions to the system lie. Now something to notice, our green line is solid and we have the orange shading over it, so that's part of our solution, the points on the green line. But the points on this orange line, even though they're overlapped by the green shading, these are still not included in the solution because they're not a solution to both of the equations or inequalities. So points on this line are not solutions. So points on this line, they are solutions. Points on that line are not. Okay, so we're going to get close to this line, and this will include the line. So this area right here where the shading is overlapped, and you don't have to color a different color, I just am to show you. This is our solution set. Okay. This stuff in the orange over here by itself, this is not a solution. This over here in the white is not a solution. This over here in the green is not a solution. This point where they overlap is also not a solution because it's on the orange line, and the orange line points aren't solutions. So if you were to pick a point in your solution, you could come over here and anything in the shaded pink area would be one. So I might choose this point right there. That's over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up 1. That's a solution. And I should say possible. Well, no, it is a solution. But all of these points in the shaded pink area are solutions. You can just pick a random one. Something on this line, this point right here, that's a solution. This point right here on the orange line, this is not a solution. Alrighty, so this is the end of our notes. Please go to the Delta Math and start on the assignment that is graphing systems of inequalities. There's only 5 problems, and you'll just follow these notes. It's exactly like this. You graph your lines, and then you select a point. Thank you.